Questa canzone si chiama Forse, forse mi chiamo un'altra volta. E cominci con parole danese. È una storia di un piccolino e un paese. Så sig mig, hvad er det for en historie, den der handler om balkongen nede på en ganske lille plads. Kolonnerne, de støtter sådan roligt op om huset. Huset med ånd af et havgusset salt og vågner, mens klokken den slår kvarteret ind.
Christiania is like a piece of history. It's not, it's not a plan. It's not, it's not like a lot of people come together and they plan this. It has just happened.
In 1971, they kind of officially turned over the planks to the road and said, "This is now we going in officially." The 26th September. Some brighter heads, they kind of publicated it that time. A guy called Jakob Ludvigsen, he was journalist, and they made this alternative newspaper. Then they sent the message to Denmark that you could immigrate with bus number 8.
Beginning of Christiania, it was like that there was a lot of people living around this area. Okay. Poor people at that time, not rich people as now. It became a very in place to live and stay for rich people now. But before it was a lot of workers who was living on Christianshavn, and in very, very small apartments, and nearly no green around them. And then this place were empty, and people start to come in here. First, all the kids from outside come and play here, and then people find out, wow, here's a lot of opportunity. We could live here. There's a lot of apartments here. There's place for us, yes. So they moved in. Okay. But they also had a dream to make another kind of society. With a lot of take care of each other and make a society where money was not the most important, but maybe share things. Maybe we didn't need money and only make things that was necessary for the daily living.
Do I really need this? Do I really want it? Do I want to get involved in it? And you always had the option to be free of it. I remember when I came here, I had nothing. No money, no nothing. But it took me a week or so, and I had something what I could feed me off. I wouldn't call it life or living or anything big, but it feed me. I found a place to house, and found materials in the dump to build something livable of, and it looked very much slum-like in that time. You would say, oh, look at this slum buildings outside big cities now. And the most people who came here in that time, they didn't have really anything, but we kind of built a city together.
I began to come here sometimes to hear music or to smoke a joint or just hang out, and then more and more I liked it more and more, and also the situation in Copenhagen began to change, and most of the old cheap houses we could rent were thrown down and built up again too expensive. And then I decided to move here because, well, that's what we dreamed also in Italy, to have something like this, to make a commune. And here it was fantastic, a big one in the middle of the city.
Sometimes people ask me, oh wow, it sounds really old communist style, but don't confuse it with that. We are by no means completely left-wing communist types. We have a collective where we all are on the same basis. In Christiania, it's like a big collective, but as I said before, I'm in the computer business, so the money I make on that, nobody tells me you have to turn that over or part of it to the collective like in the communist style. What I do for my living and it's mine, nobody is interfering. It started in 1976 or 77, I think. The original place burned down out down by the lakeside, and with 3 girls running it. And the neighbors here in Fabriken, they felt pity with them because they had a nice cafe running, and they gave them this location because it belonged to the same part of the house. So they started the collective here. And they had, in their philosophy, they wanted to start a cafe exactly like it's now, with art and a lot of creative people around. And when it's running, they left. And that was their plan from the beginning to make. And then they start traveling around the world. And sometimes they come visit and they see, okay, it's like that child has evolved and grown. A big collective. We're about 25 to 30 people that share the work. It's not like a place where you get employed and you get paid your money every month. This is like you're doing it basically for fun.
Christiania, we have another way of understanding wherever you come from. You are here in the same rights as everyone else.
Many other places outside here, you're much more alone. Here you can, in 5 minutes you can find somebody who knows something about plumbery or something about history or something about philosophy or something about yoga or whatever.
Christiania, to me, it's like a Noah's Ark. It's full of everybody. Here it is so many different kind of people and nationalities and to me it's a kind of melting pot.
I remember a very old couple, maybe 80, from Switzerland, who was out here, and they had a really nice time here. I was thinking 2 old people like that going to Christiania, and they were totally relaxed and they liked it out here, and nobody bothered them. I remember those 2 old people very much, because they have the courage to go here without being afraid and not listening to what the media is telling about bad things about this place. And they did it anyway, and they liked it out here.
About 850 people living here, and it's a community without leaders, where we make decisions in common, or try to, and it's a place where we practice in everyday life self-government.
When everything's come to everything, it is based on if you believe in it and those you are interactive with also believe. It is only because of the believing it is as we say. Mm-hmm. In the second someone said, yeah, this is the way you see it, this is not the way I see it, there it stops. So it's always, moving on the edge and hoping that I believe in doing the good things, while also you are supporting to be a part of doing the good things. And this is the same experiment you have outside in the normal societies. There you are just in another situation. There you have the choice. You can put a vote one time every 4 years, and those who win this election maybe follow what you would like, maybe they don't. Ah, shit. Here you are personally, directly involved in all situations. It is based on you and what you say. That is the result of what's going on. And this is a more direct democracy, or you can call it as it is, autonomia, anarchy, whatever you like.
Christiania is an old military camp. We got it in 1978. I was too young at that time, but I moved in as soon as I could. But it's only a half of the military installation we got, because they still used over there, our neighbors called Holmen. They still used it as a naval base, but they moved out of there some years ago. And now Copenhagen has made a new part of Copenhagen in this old military base just next to us. And if you, as I explained before, if you want to buy your own house and your own flat and your own thing, and you build your fence around and you stop your creativity, you can just go over there and have a look. Because the flats, they cost millions, like 5 million Danish kroner. It's so cold. There's not one shop, there's not one cafe, there's no colors, there's nothing. It's really sterile part of town, and you're not even allowed to go in there with your car. You have to drive all the way around. So they even closed it off for the rest of Copenhagen. But that's exactly what happens if you make a part. If you plan in a part of Copenhagen, you only want to have the really richest of the people living there. You have no creativity anymore. You have no life there. It's nothing, just property.
But today these sheds are restored and made into offices instead. Til venstre der kan I se bagsiden af Christiania, og Christiania behøver vist ikke særlig meget introduktion på dansk. Et tidligere militært område, besat af unge mennesker i 60'erne og stadig besat i dag. Det er dog ikke sikkert, at det vil forblive sådan særlig længe. Politikerne ser efterhånden ud, som om de har tænkt sig at rydde stedet en gang for alle.
It's very difficult to move out here because there's only so much places, you know, and so at the time you can only move in if somebody moves out. For a couple of years we have made an agreement with the government that we don't build any more houses, which also make it very hard to move out here. So.
The system systematically is just out after to kind of adapt Christiania into the capitalistic world in that way, and they cannot really relate to Christiania because they don't have responsible persons what they can kind of pull out and say, you are responsible for this, now you get punished. There's no real, it's because we don't have no punishment system inside Christiania. For you really have to like do violence or be on hard drugs, deal hard drugs here to kind of get the wrath of the anger of the population to feel.
The reason why Christiania is like it is that we have control ourselves in many ways.
The original people here did with this theater. There was a big theater group called Solvon, and they made lots of actions, so they got in focus about all this social, and in general they made political theater kind of.
I would love to see that places like Christiania were able to live and to breathe in a system. That would be a great thing. When you really try to break out of a system, you really feel the system very much, because working against the system is, then you really notice that you are actually in the system.
But what to do, everything is changing. But we try still to, we still have the dream. Most of us still have that dream. And maybe we have not been good enough to educate the new people, that's in my opinion, who has moved into this place.
This is not the perfect answer on how to do, but this is a big step in the direction.
And we live in tolerance to each other. So we can be critical to each other, but we should not attack and get physical.
We are a non-violent society.
Yeah, no violence, of course. It's forbidden to have a weapon. Yeah. It's forbidden to have marks like Hells Angels and that, because once we had a lot of those people in here, and it was hard to deal with. But then we said we don't want any marks, so you don't look like a group. And it's forbidden to sell hard drugs.
All people is getting no, you can't get any dope here, but you can get grass, and you can get hashish.
We had this street called Pusher Street, because then we could check what was selling. And if we find out someone sell anything else, they were thrown out.
Smoking hash, people are selling hash. The hashish market is a part of Christiania. It's a part of our freedom and part of our right. Other people, they drink too much, they beat up their wives, and they drive their car against a tree or something like that. And we prefer to smoke our joints or our pipes and live peacefully.
I was not living here at that time. That people was free in their mind. It would say you could do what you liked to do. So some people who come in here was alcoholics, and some was junkies. Some just smoked hashish. Some would like to take acid, and other again like to take peyote or something else, whatever they like to trip on. After several years, Christiania found out that it was a big problem with people who had no responsibility of their way of using hard drugs. But those some was enough to make a situation where they get fucked in their head and break in to their neighbors and steal all what they had just for getting hard drugs. So Christiania had to decide, this is very important that we learn of our own fall for being better to do things.
I was an old hippie to Afghanistan, Morocco and Nepal and all that stuff 40 years ago. In old days there were a lot of hippie pushers, you know, that just lived and then travel a lot, and they were pushing maybe half a year and then they travel half a year. Now it's money all the time. I smoke only when I go out dancing and listen to music.
Yeah.
Then I feel it's fine. It's sharpen my senses.
Yeah.
So then it's okay.
Nobody's selling it here. I mean, it's not, and we've always said that in the collective, it is not allowed to sell it. And nobody, I mean, it's not the Moonfishers, not selling any of it. I mean, we just turn our backs on the people that are smoking. Because we're smokers ourselves. So we're not, police had a little bit difficulty, because if we would have sold in here, they could just have closed us. It's a criminal activity, but I mean, we're still completely legal. It's just that people that come in here that have their little criminal activities, they are smokers. And so we got really got hassled. So now we have to, it's smoke free now. Otherwise they really close us down in the cafe here. So they got us quite under pressure. And the police, they really hassled us on because we sold alcohol and people were still allowed to smoke hashish in here. And they threatened us all the time, if we don't stop people smoking hashish in here, they will take our license away. Until we told them, listen, we don't give a damn about these licenses. We rather smoke than drink. So here you go, you take it with you and shut up. So we could since 93, 94, we were alcohol-free cafe, and because people could smoke in here, full of people, so we didn't need the alcohol to make a turnover, to make it going.
It started in in the middle of the 70s. There was pretty much fight with hard drugs and hash also between the police. So they decided they wouldn't come out here. So we started this house with people could come here, and then we drove them to the normal hospital. And then later on we got recognized by the government that we did a good job. So our bandages and stuff like that we get from the government now for free. I think it's crazy that you are able to buy pills that contains the same substance as marijuana, and you make the pills legal but the plant illegal. So I think the government kills people by taking them out of their environment and then detoxicating them and then putting them back in the environment without taking care of them, because then they will take pretty much the same doses that they took before and they will kill themselves with overdoses.
Because then they prove that they are not really Democrats, that they are not democratic thinking. They just act, because there are so many people in Denmark, even in their own parties, who say, yeah, but Christiania, leave it alone, you know, so let it be as it is, and just do something about the hash market. But the worst thing what they have done is they closed down the hash market. Now they have it all over town and everywhere, and it's popping up here and popping up there, and so.
With hard drugs together, where young people have more chances to take heavy drugs, that is also have got out of order.
So
Here it was controlled by not having heavy drugs.
A few days ago there was a big shooting in Copenhagen where one man was killed, a young man in a cafe, and it was some gang from who are selling drugs. They were after someone, but they shoot the wrong one. So after this has been much worse outside, so I'm very afraid of the situation. And the police here all the time is just a joke, because there's no hard drugs here. If they are, we will find out and throw people out if they are living here. So they do it because the political situation is that they want to change Christiania. So it's very good if they find some joints every day.
In the last 4 years, most policemen has been out here. Instead of doing real police jobs, they are going after smokers instead of going after dealers, and they want to do this more than they want to do hard drugs, and they have one policeman for taking care of women transportation between countries, one policeman, and out here we have many every day, and so when you talk to people about it, they can see that it's actually a way out. But because the news they don't cover the full, they don't know, so they just believe that it's okay, and they don't know how many cops actually is out here, so they get amazed about hearing it.
In 2003 they had these big raids against our Pusher Street, and from that time on they had so many raids out here. You can see the sign outside the door which says in the couple of years we had about 6,000 raids in here.
It's in the end of Pusher Street, and when I lived there it was okay as long as I was alone, but then my family was coming, my kids were coming, and at the same time there was a tougher period here, and so I decided to leave. So I've been living in Christiania for 25 years. You never think things gonna happen, you know. When they bomb the next town, you think, well, it's not here. And when they come the street close to you, you still think it's not my home, you know. It's not until they stand in your house you believe.
I don't care if they hunt hash pushers in the street in reality, but somehow I care because it doesn't look right to me.
Capitalistic system controlling the world, we will not be able to get cannabis legalized. And as long we can't get this legalized, Christiania will be a problem to our own government in any time, whoever might be sitting in our parliament.
Oh, hey, hey, yuppie, yuppie, yay. Oh, hey, yeah. 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 Whoa. Yeah. Yeah. Rock and roll. Woohoo. Let's ride on. Sorry to be baby. Yeah, that's what I'm talking
skal han over tilbage med og så.
It's like a big family and a big social life. So I think it's an exciting place. It's also hard sometimes, but mostly I think it's exciting to stay here. I think it's exciting to stay in a place where so many different people that have to find solutions together and find out what to do together. I think that's interesting. Where we have people, psychological people and that who can go in and interfere, then we can tell them, go and please help this family. Otherwise we help each other as good as we can. Also when people are sick in here, we have our own people to go out and make food and clean for them and stuff like that. So I mean, in fact we have everything in here.
We have a doctor here every week, and we use her if we need like penicillin and stuff like that, antibiotics, because we can't write prescriptions for anything. But still we try to use herbs as the first step, and then we, if it's not useful, then we will use ordinary medicine. Every Wednesday all the mothers in Christiania, they used to meet and they have a baby massage, and then mostly it's the social stuff that they could talk to other mothers and say that they have the same problem.
In the mornings, when I'm on my way to school with my children, I take them to school and we're riding through Christiania and, hi, how are you doing? Ah, good to see you, you know, hey, how's it going, you know, and seeing everyone, you know, and sharing.
The nice thing about Christiania is here the kids already have that feeling of togetherness or solidarity.
What is it we're doing here? We're having a meeting.
This is my working place. It's called the Racing House, and I work with kids from the age of 10 to 14. This house it's for the kids who lives in Christiania. So they come here after school. They come at 12 and they go home at 6. And then we play and make some food, play guitar, or they want to paint and they want to dance, and then we go swimming and skating and riding horses, and we do all kinds of things.
One of the centers of Christiania artistic life. Everything that you see in here is pretty much built by the artists that started the gallery. This is a special painting in the sense that this is Svend, and he lives upstairs. He's the only person who officially lives in this whole building, and he started the gallery in the late 90s. He was the person who broke down the door that was closed down back then, and then built up the whole gallery and was here every day, and he's Mr. Gallery.
The goal of Christiania TV is like being alternative to the normal media, because in the media you will always have read the same thing about Christiania. It will always be, when you hear about Christiania in the media, it will often be fire in the streets and rebellions and they're smashing everything and things like that, or people living for free in houses and don't paying rent and stuff like that. But to give a more real picture of what Christiania actually is about. We could broadcast on a narrow channel called Channel Copenhagen. We have 3 hours, that's the most we can get. We cannot get more than 3 hours a week. Some part of Christiania TV is covering the music scene here, and it's also, there's a very special music, a lot of new bands start out here, and it's a lot of underground music.
My name is Ole Kofod, and I come from Denmark, from Bornholm, and this is my first time. What I'm doing is trying to make some political point of view in my really weird songs with the Danish language, and it was really funny this first time to come in to jump on stage on the opera, where it's a free jam and you can do exactly what you want.
We write the lyrics in Danish and we try to make the music sweet and kind, so people who doesn't really understand us, they maybe will open up their heart because we are smiling, and then they maybe understand why we live as we do, and we really would like to tell the story about Christiania to all the people in Denmark, because we feel that it's in a big danger from being closed down. So in that way we think it's very important. So recently we made this record called Flowers and Kisses and put it out, and then we hope that people will have the message from our music.
Outside people, when they have play football match, the most of them go and drink a beer. Here people go and smoke a joint instead. So you don't have to live in Christiania to play here. If you like it, this is a little special football club. The 100 members is the active members. The 100 others is non-active members. It's the supporters who come and watch the game. It's for Christiania's flag, you know. There's 3 yellow marks. Woodstock, it's one of the bars over here. They are our sponsors. Keep Christiania alive.
How you can organize the democratic system. The meaning with it is that it's always kind of a group that makes the decision, that decisions are not really made by a single person. When you do things, you always have to think about the other ones. When you want to build on your house, you have to think about the other ones. If I want to build a roof on my house, I have to talk with the neighbors because, well, it's gonna get dark in the neighbor's house when I build a roof. So I have to tell him. Everybody has a responsibility, if he wants to. If you don't want to have responsibility, as long as you don't harm anybody, or just take, they have to kind of accept that we have this rule. If you want to come in, you have to come to the meeting, so we get to know you. You have to come, and we want to see you. We want to see you act, do things before we see, okay, you okay guy, you can be our neighbor, or you can be my neighbor. I don't mind you having as a neighbor, you know.
We take decision by consensus, so we have to talk until we find a common statement or a common decision. It's okay if the people involved are not so many, but if there are more than 50 people involved, or sometimes 200 like we are, then it's very, very difficult. Because in many cases, in many situations, there will be 2 different opinions, maybe more, but at least 2 very opposite opinions, and it's very difficult to find a middle way.
It's a painting of the last meeting of the first group that tried to organize negotiations between the state and Christiania. This, the squared opinion. He's not a real Christianite, but he symbolizes somebody. Yeah?
The law system is different, and they want to kind of make everything legal, but we're not breaking any laws as such, except this law what they made, that they may have want to make Christiania to a legal thing, adapted to the legal system. But it's not even really difficult, because the inside structure is there. They just have to accept, here look, if you want something from us in this way, you have this office to go, and then we talk about it. they can't kind of put their demands on persons or institutions as such, because the only institutions we have in here is the economy meeting. Then we have this building byggekontor, the building office. What is administrating the infrastructure, more or less. All the working groups are connected to this, and just this simple structure that is confusing them. So we have been sitting in meetings and tried to think about how can we make it eatable for them, that they understand what we are doing. Because the thing is, we're not really doing things so much different.
That no one can own the land. We are of this believing. We are several times in Christiania by the politicians being offered that we could buy the place. But this is not a part of our idea with this. We have not occupied this for getting the opportunity to buy it. This is not the idea of it. Mm-hmm. And if we buy it, we actually describe that this way of understanding, way of treading the earth outside, that we are accepting. Actually we don't. We have occupied this for showing another way to do this. We are here in a short, limited time, and after us, our children. We have to protect what we are using and make it as best as it's possible for them.
So I had these journalists coming in and asking me, because I'm living in a really nice part of Christiania. And he was standing outside my house and he said, wouldn't you be interested in buying this house so it's your own, so you can go to the bank and lend money and stuff like that? And I had to explain to him, I said, I'm in the computer business, I have a good income. I can buy the house anytime if it's like that. But if I want to buy a house, I go out in town, in the suburbs, I buy a house, I buy a Volvo, I put a big fence around it, and the sign, this is mine. But that's not why I moved to Christiania. It's ours. I don't want to own this place. Christiania owns this place. It's not mine, it's ours. And that's a really, really big difference. And that's like our protection against these privatizations. But it's still ours. It's not private, sure. It's still mine. And yours, and yours. So we like to share that. We don't need to make money. I don't care. I could get millions of it in the bank afterwards. But that's not why I moved in here. If I was thinking like that, I would have moved somewhere else.
Then my neighbors and the area where I live is going to take the decision, and then there will be a note in the newspaper that that the house is empty and people can come and candidate for it, and that's to avoid the selling, or to avoid that economy is involved. And the shop is mine as long as I live here. When I don't live here anymore, it's not mine anymore, and I get no contribution for whatever I have invested in. That's a part of the rent. We have a budget of about 10, 12 millions a year. Goes to the community for having children institution, or having the buildings repaired and kept, and the streets and the water, the electricity, all sort of things, common expenses we have.
Yeah, we are a society in the society.
And here, this is the garden of the people. Everybody can walk everywhere if they don't destroy anything, and this is very different than in Denmark, where everything is privacy. You are not allowed to go in a privacy garden, or it's very difficult to come around. Even the forest in Denmark is private. You are not allowed to go away from the road in the forest.
We have to live together with the nature and minimize occupying too much of the nature around us. We try not to disturb too much. We also have a little island, and we have saved it for the birds. We cannot have houseboat in the lake.
There were so beautiful birds in straws, and I tell all my friends, go down and listen, it's so beautiful song. And then one day and the dead bird starts to flow. Fight for the nature, and then it dies. So I wanted to find out. So I start to sail with my canoe around with a man from the government. And I found out it was because the water was blocked. And then we have now fighting for 1.5 years to make the system better. And it's something about this government, all the responsibilities is moving from one office to another office to another office and getting private and like this. So people don't know what is going on because they get a new responsibility and they don't really know the details because it's not only this lake, it's the water system around Copenhagen. Huh? So many meetings with them we want to see what they have been doing, and now we find out there's a sewage who is flowing dirty toilet water out in the lake too, and so we are fighting to get a better system, and it's a lot of work for civil persons. In the first half year I did it alone, but now we are a group.
I feel home here.
A place where you can be a little different from what you used to be. I like the hippie style. The hippie style. It's cool.
Down on Pusher Street, you can hear a techno funky reggae beat down on Pusher Street. It make a warm light in the winter dark Denmark night. A warm light in the winter dark Denmark night. And here the whole world come to see the Viking and the Eskimo. But don't you take a photo. No photos down on Pusher Street. And don't sell any hard drugs down on Pusher Street, you get your ass beat. And slow down on the Pusher Street. Don't run down the Pusher Street. Big bad dog waiting for something to eat down on Pusher Street. Woof, woof, woof. Woof, woof. Party and have some fun. But in 77 came too much heroin into heaven. So in 79 we had a junk blockade. We wanted junk pusher to be afraid. Chased them out of dark hallway into daylight and maybe the rocker gang. Motorcycle bullshit beat them after midnight. Bullshit beat them after midnight. And one day police are acting rough and tough. Hash pushers say enough is enough. The stone attack on bus number 8. And politicians say normalize the free state. Normalize the free state. Then the police come every day, they shoot gas at the children while they play. But in 93 there's no bro night. Many a stone is thrown in the fight. police forget their gas, they fire into the mass. 11 people get shot down and then peace come to Christiania town. Peace come to Christiania town. Now they're back on the attack, looking for the hash and the cash in the trash. And all over the planet there's a law against the weed. This is exactly the law we don't need.
Everybody has needs of being free and be happy, but I think not everybody realized that it is possible. Personally, I remember the day, the moment that I realized, hey, if I want to do something that I want, well, I can just do it. It's so simple, but not everybody comes to that.
But Ungdomshuset means youth house. They had this place called Ungdomshuset, and the town owned that house. It was out in Loro, very busy part of Copenhagen, right in the center of Loro, a street called Jagtvej 69. Young kids with black clothes and the piercings everywhere. Some people don't think they have a right to be here, but in a democracy, everyone has a right of existence, and nobody should judge on how you think you look nice.
Il 1 marzo è passato un anno. È il comune. L'hanno venuta, anche se tanti anni fa era un regalo per i giovani di questa città.
The politicians, if they got a problem on their hand, they try to, okay, if we go and raid that place and close it, we look bad. So they pushed the problem around into other corners, and until suddenly someone they made an agreement with the town how to use the house, and it's their house, and they can make their concerts and their vegetarian restaurant, and we had here in Christiania just in one house, and they are a big collective of young people. These people have said, okay, now we own the house, now we want these kids out. So the government said, okay, in our laws, in our democracy, if you own something, it's your right. If you want to have these people out, sure, we have to. With our laws, within our laws, we have to take the police to empty that place, because that's one of the basic rules. If you own something, you can decide on it. But why did the politicians sell it to someone? Because they couldn't close it themselves, so they sell it to some really right-wing group. Even they know that Ungdomshuset is a very left-wing group, so they make already big clashes.
What I felt about this house is not that I used it so much, but I was angry about it, because here in Copenhagen, the youth don't really have any place to go. When you are from 15 to 18 years, you can stand on the corners. Now, you can stand on the corners. Of course, there are clubs, but they always directed by grown-ups, and a lot of youth of young people want a place where they can kind of control themselves.
Many musicians and stage artists and sound technicians and light technicians and all what you have around theater and music, they learn their trade in there for free, and they play with it. But I know really a lot of now famous sound technicians, musicians, and they started their days after they closed. They had a lot of their concerts here in Christiania. I think that was really nice, so I hope they will keep on making concerts here.
Yeah, we don't really have a place to be. So people are hanging out at other people's houses or different places, but there still is a huge need for a new house. There's definitely still togetherness. Every Thursday there's a demonstration where a lot of people are coming. And there has been so ever since March, so I think the next one is number 50. In 1 year. And every Monday we still have the meeting, which was also in the house, where we're discussing how we're going to get a new house.
But I mean, how can you be safe in a society when political system changes and they change everything, all the agreements you've made. So they couldn't close it. I said, okay, we cannot close it. We sell it to a Christian sect, to a Christian, really right-wing Christian group. Satan's house. It's called the Father's house. We all call it for Satan's house because they know nothing about about what they preach on their Christian values, because the only thing is they're against these young people, against homosexual. So they had to close. They stormed that place, and they send these religious. I hardly can say religious because evil people are not religious. They wanted to tear the house down. So as soon as the police got raided the house, they got them out. They had the machines ready and to demolish the house. They said, we want to buy that house, so it's our house. But these religious groups said, no, we don't want to sell the house, we want to demolish it. They even offered them, this religious group, they bought it for 2 million Danish kroner. The ungdomshuset, their lawyers offered them to buy the house for 15 million.
This normalizing process everywhere, and it's getting so boring and so regular and nice and clean, everything. Sometimes, where is the room for people here? I mean, we have to be here too, no? For people who is not just like the mainstream group of the community. Where is the room for them? And Ungdomshuset was one place you could go, and Christiania too, if you're not actually, if you disagree with the mainstream of the population.
Live normal life, what they call normal.
What is normal?
I don't know. It's like you have a house, you have a car, you have a dog, and you have kids, and then you're like paying taxes, and you use the social security things, and you make the whole society grows, and they want us to be like that. And
after 9/11, society got so paranoid on the terrorist issue that they changed the laws, and in all the Western world, most of the Western world, they have these anti-terror acts, like in the United States, and they've got that as well here in Denmark. And in this anti-terror act, they give the police so much permission, so you have no rights in it. And the police, they know you can complain as much as you want. They can do whatever they want. So they really behave badly because you cannot do anything. I mean, they beat you, they humiliate you. I mean, they in public they ask you to strip, to take off your clothes. They say they're looking for weapons, but I mean, why has somebody to take off their clothes to see if he's got a knife between his cheeks?
There's lots of bad memories because some of them is about yourself, and some of them is about, I think the worst was this mental ill person sitting not here but in another cafe, and then the police came and they were like, we want to body search you, and he was like, you can't do that because I'm very mentally ill and I can't stand if people touches me, and they were like, haha, you're not supposed to decide what we are going to do. So they just grabbed him, 6 people, and he was going crazy because he really couldn't have it in his mind, and they dragged him out and he got lots of wounds and on his legs, and it was I really hate it when they harass people who are not able to do anything about it, and when they're sick and like that. I think it's, and then I also it goes straight to my heart when the kids out here, they see police violence and like that, and you see how it hurts them in their eyes. It's not that funny.
Like you and everybody else who come and visit us in Christiania, being inspired to say, we can also make an alternative society.
Liberal governments work very much with oppressive material on the population. Like we have this situation with the police. We have the first factor, we start splitting into groups. Vitalistic group of people who believe in the wealth through money, and then we have these people who believe in the wealth through the community. I personally believe more in the wealth through the community, but I know that money is a necessary factor to get anywhere. Of course, you can take parts out and in a little circle survive on your own premises. But related to the big world, it won't work.
Many people from outside are coming in and selling, and we don't know who they are. And it's very hard to control, because in evening time also comes someone from outside town, and just around outside Christiania they are selling also hard drugs. And then the police is coming every day and chase people who are smoking a little joint, instead of go out and take the people who sell other very hard stuff. Placed very good in Copenhagen. So their dream is to sell the ground to someone who can build very big fancy houses for several million for an apartment like on the other side, and then get rid of us. And then they want to take what they think are good of Christiania. So then want to take our music place, our arts places, our børneteater, whatever they like, they want to keep. So they think that's, then it's still Christiania. But we don't want that. So we are still fighting to get allowed to stay here.
I think there came implemented some unlucky elements into Christiania, and that was the free run of capitalism in the street, on the street level.
Very long. And 3 years we have been under this pressure from the police. 3 years. 3 years. And sometimes I feel that I could have lived in Palestine or Iran or Iraq with this pressure. With the police I feel like I'm criminal all the time. And I am not criminal.
I have just down here where they're selling joint paper and so on, these small shops down here. It's because you can use this space here for anything. So this is an alternative to, instead of having wagons like we have now, there are people who are standing in the middle. We have suggested that we could make something like this, so you could change them so they were standing like this or they were standing like this. And when you collect them in the nighttime, it would feel nothing, you know. So it was only, but this is only a thought up to now, where we haven't realized this yet.
Relation to the heavy underworld, kind of, where what people know they do, and it's kind of also a little bit in these things. Fear is also a factor, that people don't really express what they really mean about their neighbors in some places. I have no problem here because I'm living away from all the general trouble. But when you go and see in like the biggest house in Christiania, there's lots of different types of people living there. And there live some heavy dudes. What kind of brought themselves into a wealthy position by doing things what we tolerated, not really accepted.
The problem is not Pusher Street. They also claim every time that it is because of hashish in Christiania. No, what they know is that they have never in our parliament have the discussion about legalizing, because it is not up to our government to legalize cannabis. International agreements begin by the USA, when they have this no alcoholic period in the 20s.
Yeah.
When they lift up that again, they make contract with the Western world that they would only cooperate with countries that declare that hashish cannabis was illegal. This is not just a question about something to smoke. Yeah. This is about a lot of way of making work, you know. A lot of people will be able to get a job, you know, and there will be several ways of make alternative with cannabis instead of all kind of things that is poisoning our world today with plastic and paper and so on. We could share a lot with if we made it in cannabis instead of what we use today. The petrol company, the medicinal company, and the paper industry. These three industries is the heavy duty here, because you know you can make biogas out of hemp oil. You can drive on. It's much easier and it's not damaging the environment. Since the early days, we separate our garbage so that we could use some of it and we could sell some we have collected separately and earn money on it. Someone have to take the first step, and in all the years Christiania has been here, we have claimed that we would like that discussion came in our parliament. We're looking at some great ideas constructed by people in Christiania in the hope of developing Christiania in a green, environmental, sustainable way of living. And we have made several ideas of where we have 2 horses and free space for children and another kind of ideas that is based on power from the nature. 2 are already put in practice, but this one we has not put in practice yet, but we hope later on we will make it. This is also an idea of developing like here. We have the lake here. Right on the other side we also have water, and there we would put an example or suggest that you could develop it like this, for example. And we have also made the smaller module here, how to see how it could develop slowly, you know, first small houses and then build it a little out and a little more out. On any houses around and all around the world, you have roof on your houses, and when it rains you can use this water in several ways. You can use it in your house again for cleaning your clothes, cleaning your dishes. You can also use it outside for the plants you have outside, and you can also make a greenhouse where you actually use the water for bringing up what you produced in a greenhouse. Anybody can get the knowledge about how to live in a sustainable way of living and take care of the nature and being a part of it instead of living on behalf of the nature. The government, because they know if the population of Denmark, all people in Denmark says that thumbs up, this is good, this they're doing in Christiania. They know that we have taken their jobs. There is no one that needs politicians if people can organize themselves as we have done. Big threat for the politicians. They don't like this kind of words. We are now in a situation where they say to us, we have to beat these fucking hippies down on any reason, because if they get bigger, they will overrule us.
And if we don't get to that point with them, that it's us who stay and keep on ruling here, then we can say bye-bye. And one thing we say no to is that we have owner apartments here. Absolutely no way.
Actually says you have to say no to all what you believe in Christiania.
They don't want to close it down, they just want to normalize it. They like to have us as a showroom, how free they are thinking and so on, but they just want to control all of it.
All the houses by the lake got a letter that now they want to pull us down in January next year, because now they want to cut all the trees and all the plants and all the straw and everything. So it would be like a military place from 1600 something. all these animals will also lose their place. In a way, I'm a protector of the animals and plants, because always when there is a sick animal, a porcupine or a bird or a swan or something, people come to me and I know what to do.
Pure destruction, what they want us to do is pure destruction of Christiania. It's definitely the end. If they go with their plan, it's like we still will be living here in a couple of years, but we would have to pay rent to a different institution. And this institution is meant to be ourselves. Well, you have a vote, a voice inside this community thing. So, and in this part of Christiania here, like we are quite together organized as such, and almost everybody pays the fees and the things, and a lot of people participate in our action days where we make common actions to clean the area or build this or that and do this or that. It's up and down. As stronger the pressure from the outside society gets, as closer we get together here, kind of. Alone we can't really get anywhere.
It's a proof to yourself also.
And now we have the whole issue with the government who wants to fire secure the building. And we have spent hours and hours and hours of meeting with architects and people from the city who have the authority of giving our gallery a certificate of fireproof and blah blah, and we're still in this process. And the latest agreement was that we have to build a new staircase on the outside of the building. If not millions of kroner, then it will be very expensive.
I want to make a documentation about which animal and plant we have, because if nobody shows that we have, for example, 100 species of birds, which is very rare for a green area in the middle of a town, nobody will know. Then they just think this is straw and houses. So I start to make a film with one friend about to document what we have here. We start to make a union. Some people from outside Christiania, because there's a little water which is connected to this lake. And then from the building office here, and me, and some from the nature group, and one from outside who's working with the swans, and argue that people need this in the town to have some wild nature which is also comfortable to walk in. We have nice roads and things.
How the press acts on minorities at the moment. And since this World Trade event, it's all all over, and they're all running after what America says must be good for us and things like that. But that's complete nonsense for a little country like Denmark. But how they make the money, and where they make the money in this so rich country. And you can't tax the tax for the taxes and things like that, you know. So this system also, and connected with capitalism, is like the screw without an end. It keeps on screwing and screwing and screwing and screwing and screwing. But by some point, there's an end, and this screw or this is just gonna fall off. And then what? One of my dream things in Christiania would be, for instance, that we exclude all multinational companies from trading. You know, every time I see somebody of this left-winged anti-globalizations, people standing screaming on the corner with a tin of Coke or something in his hand, I feel like, shit, they didn't understand really what they're screaming about. The outside society not really gets along with, and that's their problem. I mean, it's not really our problem, it's their problem that they can't see, well, there is a value in that as well. Yeah.
Religions are getting more and more into each other and against each other instead of taking it off and accepting that it's one planet. And, I mean, the companies have globalization, but the people are very, very afraid of the ones that are living on the other side of the world that have different ways of life, and that's a really shame, because all cultures, all kind of people are nice. It's been hard living under these conditions, but I mean, we are tough, and we survive it because we feel we've got some rights. You don't know how people react and interact. So what happened is we have a really, really big support in the Danish population. We are actually, the more pressure they put on us, the more support you get from everywhere around. It's just too stupid to realize that.
We are very open to prove that we can manage to kind of work it out, also in relation to their demands, but not on the premises as they come and want us to do. Nobody is who's living here is serious into this kind of personality. There comes the leader's coming and somebody says, and he says jump, and then we jump. You know what? In the first place, we analyze why is he saying jump, and what are we going to jump for?
It's difficult to work with the environment because the government, they want the economical thing to grow. They don't care about the environment. Yeah. And the first thing the government did was to shut down the environment ministry. So now there is no control about the environment, and people are buying more and more things with chemicals imported from China. And I mean, it's how it's going in whole the Western world. The values of the Western world is more materialistic than it's environmental, and the things to be happy to see what's fantastic planet we're living on. I mean, the nature, it has been here before us. But people, they want to sit on the television or something else instead.
When my first child was born, I was asking myself one big question: how can I explain my child what the world is? Because I have to explain them what it is in the beginning. But how do I do it without influencing them too much with my own schemes and my own point of views? So I tried to give them this mental space to develop their personality. And the other thing is, even though I got lots of love from my family, of course, but you know, in the traditional Italian families, or in many families around the world, there is this idea we have from the Christianity, you know, respect your parents. Well, that's wrong. Children don't have to respect the parents. The parents have to respect the children.
But don't give up!
Yeah.
Ti amo, ti amo ancora di più.
just want you guys to know that Christiania is a nice place. I would... Hi!
Treat people and the world with respect and love and whatever, as you want to be treated. Because then you will receive the same.
Spread peace and love, carpe diem.
And make love, not war.
And, you know, when you think of yourself, take in mind that other people are around you, so that you have to understand other people in order to understand yourself.
I think that people should stop trying to suppress what's different and just accept and realize that everybody is different and there has to be room for everyone in the world.
Don't mess up the world. Clean up after yourself.
Peace, love and harmony.
Love and peace. Stop all the war in the world.
Behave decent and respect each other.
Good idea. Stop this fucking war, man.
Stop fighting each other.
Stop fighting each other and respect and peace and love and,
and understanding and compassion.
And, well, you better listen.
Live by your heart.
Yeah, follow your heart.
And follow your heart, yeah.
Yeah.
And your intuition.
Yeah.
And love each other more. Hug each other more.
Okay, we'll start.
Worry and be happy.
Worry and be happy.
Warm in the heart. Thanks, Ronnie. And hope we see you again soon. Surround yourself with beauty.
A message to the world is to be more kind and not be afraid of somebody in a different color and a different religion and a different size. We're all the same. We're one people. We have to be more tolerant to each other. Otherwise, we will not clear the problems in Denmark or in the world. It's the same.
All the people in the high places should take a grip of themselves and think about a little bit more than money, and especially the white man. It's like I see that the white race is trying to raise their head and be the supreme being on the earth. So I just say that we're all equal. We should all have the same opportunities and possibilities as everybody else. That's my message.
To the world, or please enjoy food and music.
Peace for everyone. What I want to tell everybody is don't fear. Only see the most positive and good things in other humans. It's all your brothers and sisters. God bless you.
Love is the strongest power in the world.
De lo más profundo de mi corazón, amaos, comprendeos y escuchaos, que es la razón primera del ser humano.
We are one family, of one spirit, of one word, one logical word, logos. One family, one spirit, one logical word, logos. It's the tool we build spaceships with.
Who was the idiot who told you to be ashamed about being a hippie?
I will hope that people will be more aware about the living planet we are living on, and the beauty in the animals and the plants and the insects and the water and the sun and the moon, instead of all this plastic fantastic.
That's all what I can say is like, the world is the people's and the world is ours, but think twice about how you act about the money and where you invest it and how you invest it and what you want to do with it. Because there's too much shit and too many third-man interests who have nothing to do with anything, and they just want to rip you off. This is what we try to avoid in Christiania as such.
Once we dreamed about socialism And then it turned out that socialism has been, or communism has been a very bad model so many places, and now the whole world has turned towards capitalism and the Western way to see the world. And I wish people would find a third way. That's what we need everywhere, because capitalism can't survive so much longer anymore.
I hope that the world will not collapse. I hope they will live like everybody, like us.
Mother, there's too many of you crying. And brother, there's far too many of you dying. Oh, we got to find a way to bring some love in here today. 'Cause I tell you, war is not the answer. I say only love can conquer. Hey, picket lines and picket signs. Don't punish me with brutality. You should talk to me so that you can see what's going on. Tell me what's going on. Oh yeah, what's going on? I can tell you this is wrong.